Hello crafters, I'm JanB and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. Today I'd like to show you how I made this absolutely stunningly beautiful box. It really is amazing. I saw this made on YouTube by a lady called Shelley Roberts, and as I sat and watched the video she said that she'd found the idea on YouTube by Petals. So many thanks for this to Sam Hammond. It's absolutely stunning. After I'd watched Shelley Roberts' video, I sat and watched Petals' video as well, and Sam did say that she's not quite sure where the idea came from for this idea, and I can't imagine how anybody would think this up, but it is stunning, absolutely beautiful. So many thanks for the inspiration, Sam. Right, so to start off with, you'll need a piece of designer series paper that measures 6 inches by 6 inches or 15 by 15 centimeters. I'm using this, which is from a set that I've forgotten what it's called, but never mind, I will put the name in the details below. And you'll also need your envelope punch board. Right, so what you need to do is line your paper up at 1.5 inches. Let's just move that so you see everything on the screen. Okay, so line it up at 1.5 inches just there. Punch and score. Move your paper along to 3 inches, sorry, 1.5 inches. If you're doing metric, that would have been 3.75. Now you move it along to 3 inches, which would be 7.5 centimeters. Punch and score. Move it along to 4.5 inches, which is 11.25 centimeters. Punch and score. And then you repeat that on all 4 sides. So that's 1/2 inch or 3.75 centimeters. Punch and score. 3 inches or 7.5 centimeters. Punch and score. 4.5 inches. Punch and score. I'm not going to keep saying that all the way around. I will show you other boxes that I've made with this. Once I'd started, I really just could not stop. I just think it is so unusual, so different. Right, there we go. Just make sure I've got all my score lines there. Yes, and then we turn it backwards. I don't know why I do it round that way. It's a lot quicker. It would have been a lot quicker if I did it the other way, but I always do it back to front. Right, and now we want to, the 4 corners, we need to just round those. That's it, that's all 4. Now you need to decide whether you want your which design you want on the inside or which one you want out the outside. I'm going to stick with this, and I'm going to do my pattern on the outside, so it's quite plain on the inside. So that's right. We need to do some cutting first, and the bits that we're going to cut is, I've chosen this because it's quite plain on the back and hopefully it's going to be quite easy to explain. On the 4 straight sides, the punched out bit in the middle, just above it you've got like a diamond shape. So what we're going to do on all 4 of these, we're going to cut on that score line there and that score line there. I'm going to do that on all 4 sides. That'll be that one and that one. It's always going to the middle punched bit there. Okay, so very nice and easy. Just cut up to the score line and then come onto this other side. Turn it 90 degrees, then up to the next one. If I tilt it at that angle, I can see the score lines really nicely. That's it, that's all 4. Now, with this box, on the side here, these are curved, okay? Which is what gives it its beautiful shape. Now, to achieve that, what we're needing to do is to tuck these 2 in underneath that one. It's very easy to do. It is just a little bit fiddly. So if we just fold our box on our score lines, and when you fold these ones up, just make sure that you're lining up the cut line there. It just makes it easier when you put your box together. And then that one you fold back out, and then fold on the second score line, the third score line, bring up the little side bits, and then bring that one down. Doesn't matter which way round you do it, as long as you just make sure that when you bring these up they do actually line up. You might find on the little corners here you've got little bits that, I can't really see that one, can you? Can you see that one any better? You see little bits that are sticking out. If you want to cut those little bits off, you can. It doesn't really affect anything, but I have to say I do find them a little bit irritating. As I say, it really doesn't affect the way your box goes together at all. Well, that one didn't have one anyway. So now what we're going to do is you can either do this so that you do the right flap first and then the left flap and then move on to the next one, or you can do the right flap on this one and then the right flap on this one and go round and then do the left flaps. You can use, I use Tombow. You can use red sticky strip. I haven't tried any other methods. I wouldn't, oh in fact snail should work with this because it's paper, isn't it? So snail should work and fast fuse should work and tearing tape will work. But I just find that I enjoyed using the sticky strip, but it takes too long for a video. So I'm going to Tombow. Now when I'm doing this, I fold these pieces out of the way best as I can so that I can get to my piece to do my glue. I put enough on round close to the edges but not right on the edges because I don't want this oozing out on the inside of my box. And then once I've done the first one, this is just the same as any other box, that fold there that one, has got to line up with this. Okay, so the first one is the easiest one of all. Okay, so that's lined up. I've got my finger behind there, and I'm going to put a finger on top here, so my two fingers are pressing against each other to hold that together. I'm bringing my thumb in to press that all together as well. Just give it a few seconds to let Tombow get a grip, and then pinch that last bit together as well, so the whole flap is sticking down. Okay, don't know quite how much you can see. Yes, you can see that. Right, so that's all done. That's the first one. Now I'm going to move around to the next one. I'm going to move that out of the way. This is the flap that I need this time. It's another right hand sided one. Okay, and again I'm going to make this fold line up with that straight line. I'm going to slide my finger inside, and then I've got my thumb holding this side and my finger holding that side. Or I can do it that way. Now I'm bringing this other finger, this one here, so it's next to this one here, and I move my thumb along. That way I'm holding the rest of the flap down. Okay, as you can see, this is starting to bend now, and that's what we want to happen. Right, so now the next one on the right hand side. And then make the fold line up with the straight edge. I've got my index finger on the left hand going in to offer some support. Now my thumb is supporting, and this one's going to support as well. Once I'm happy that that's in the right position, not likely to move, I'll bring my middle finger on this one next to that, and then use my thumb to make sure it adheres all the way down. Okay, so that's all done. Now we move round. I think this should be the fourth one. Let's move that down there. Bend that down and bring the straight edge up to the fold. All those edges where I said you can cut the little pokey bit off are all tucked away on the inside. You can't see them, so you don't have to worry about them. It's just that I didn't like seeing them there, so I cut them off. Right, okay, so that is all stuck down as well. Now I'm going to move on to the next one, and I'm going to start doing my right flaps down. Now this is where it gets a little bit challenging. So first of all, put your Tombow on the flap. Now again, what you're going to do is you're going to line that flap, that fold, sorry, up against that straight line, and that is going to make this bend. Okay, so as you bend that round, you can see that's bending. So now I've got to use my fingers again to get these to adhere to each other. Now my top index finger is doing most of the work. It has got a finger underneath it that it's pressing against. I'm also trying to make sure I'm pressing on this bit as well. So just a few seconds, give Tombow a chance, and then on the inside where this flap is, you see how the flap is sticking out there? So use your finger to get that to stick down. I'll show you in just a moment. Now this bit you do need to be careful, because if you put too much pressure in the wrong place you will tear the side. Okay, so first of all you can see how that is curved around. Now what happens is, if you get too rough, like this one that I did, this one I tried Designer Series specialty paper, so it's quite like cardstock, and I put too much pressure on, you can see it tore down there. And I have also managed to do it with, there we go, I've done it with DSP as well on that one. Okay, so you do need to be careful, but look at that, isn't that beautiful? So now we're going to move on to number 2. Let's get that bending down and get the crease lined up. Let Tombow get a grip there. I'm giving it quite a squeeze there, but I am squeezing the folds together so that I don't tear them. And then once I've done that, I'm going to put my finger inside and curl that bit round. Okay, now I'm going on to number 3. There we go. Let's hold that for a little bit. We'll come round in a minute and we'll finish off those corners, make sure they're nice and sharp, and then press the curve around the curve on the corner there. That's it. And then the last one, which I suppose should be the most tricky one, but I don't really think it's any more tricky than the others. Okay, except maybe just getting that bit to tuck inside. Well, there we go. We push that down. There we go. And that should be nicely stuck together. Now I'm going to curl that, fold that corner around the curve in the corner bit there. Okay, so there is our box. So the way I finish off these, if they haven't, that one's gone really nicely, but if you find that they haven't actually, there's one that hasn't really popped out very well, if you just very carefully use your thumbnail in there and it will push it in. Okay, so then it does go beautifully. That one was okay, that one's a little bit out. Okay, so there is our gorgeous little box. So to decorate mine, what I'm going to do, I wasn't sure whether I wanted to use fresh fig or if I wanted to do old olive. Yes, I think I want fresh fig. So what I'm going to do is cut a piece of this, not quite sure how much, about this much, whatever this is. About 16 inches. Yes. And see if I've got a favourite side for the front. And I think I like the purple flowers. And then I have to say this is quite tricky trying to tie a bow around here. But if you just take your time, be patient with it, it will work. But don't pull it too tight, otherwise you'll never have these flaps opening. On one of them I did actually put glue dots on the ribbon on the two corners here, just to hold it. But subsequently I managed to tie them okay. The glue's coming undone. That's better. Okay, in fact that bow's not too bad considering. The ribbon keeps getting stuck to my fingers. Okay, so I'm going to just trim that off. And then the thank you that I've done on here, I just took a scrap of Whisper White, which I'm not quite sure what I've done with it right now. So let's just pick up another piece. And the thank you that I've used on here is from the Eastern Beauty stamp set. That's this one here that I'm using. And so what I'm doing, I will use Fresh Fig ink for this one. And the stamp is here. There we go, got some on my finger. Never mind. I'm not going to spoil my project. Now what I did to decorate my sentiment here, I took a spare piece of this designer series paper and I cut these out. And likewise, I've done that with the purple flowers as well. But rather than make you sit and watch me, they're here. But I just wanted to show how I actually do this because as you can see they do come off the edge. Right, I think this is 1 inch that I did, didn't I? So I just do that so that's right in the centre. And then if I take my glue mat, and then I will stick these on whichever way, whichever position I want, but I'll make sure that they're part on, part off, and then once they're done I will just cut off the edges. In fact, I'm not sure that I'm going to need 3 on this one. Let's do the big one first, which has got the biggest gap at the top there, I think. Okay, so with my tweezers I'll do it like this so that I've got some green and some purple, bearing in mind I'm going to be cutting some of this off. And then one down at the bottom as well. That's it. And do I want to put a little piece up here? probably. So I'm only doing it on the top bit there. Okay, I could actually put it on my box like that, but I don't think I will. I like the trimmed effect. Now what did I do with my non-stick scissors? I don't think I actually got them out, have I? Well, not to worry. So I'm just going to cut this around the edge. That's it. I think I've just hooked up my tweezers on my scissors. There we go. So there's my little sentiment. It's just a different idea, and I'm just going to pop it on with Tombow. You could use dimensionals if you want to. There we go. So there's those two boxes. Let me just show you some others that I've done. As I say, this was the very first one that I did. As I say, once I started, I just couldn't stop. And I didn't do too well on sticking these sides down. I don't know if you can you see how that's. Yep, you can see how that's sticking up. Now, what did I use on this one? I think that looks like Tombow. I was obviously not very sensible with that. And then I made this one, which that looks as if that was the red sticky strip. Now these were definitely these are definitely Tombow ones, these are. This is some of our new Christmas paper that will be coming out on 1st September, and these two ribbons are new ribbons that we'll be able to buy. This is all retired, but that's what I do when I start experimenting with things. I use my retired products, but that was one of my favourite papers. I used to like that. Pretty. So I really hope you decide to give this a try. As I say, I think it's probably the prettiest box I've ever seen. Can you see those like that? I think so. Some of these things are just not very easy to show. But there we go. I hope you've enjoyed today's project, and I really hope you decide to give it a try. If you have any comments to make, please leave them in the box below the video. If you'd like to purchase any of the products that I featured here today, not that one, that's retired, but all of these are current. And of course, these will be as from 1st of September. I'll put a link to my 24/7 online Stampin' Up shop in the box below. If you've enjoyed my video and you'd like to be notified each time I make a new one, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. And finally, all the measurements and where you need to score and the products that I've used, I will make a note in the box below. I'll list these as well with their numbers, but I will put in the brackets that it's not available just yet. So when you have a look underneath the video, you'll see there are two small arrows. If you click on the bottom arrow, that'll open up the box and everything will be in there for you. Many thanks for joining me today. Until next time, happy crafting, cheerio.